and making sure that we can communicate properly so that if, I get sick, they can know. If they get sick, I can know. So the importance of family and really putting effort into the thing, the people that matter, and extending grace to other people.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I feel like there's a lot of things I've learned, so I think what I'm realizing is that sometimes it's not necessarily like a new lesson, but it becomes like reinforced, or like you relearn it in some ways. So one of the things I like as I'm reflecting back on the year is that, God answers prayers, but not in the way that we think he is going to. So sometimes, we have to, like I was reflecting back, and it's just crazy because I was reflecting back. I was talking to some people about a week or so ago, and at the beginning of the year, I had written down things that I wanted to not get resolutions, just like things I wanted to continue to grow and develop in lifelong, actually, but that I want to like actually take steps towards. One of them was like trying to be more intentional about building community, because I am pretty introverted, and I think with like all the training I've had to do, it's been easy for me to just like be focused on that and not so much like building like relationships or establishing friendships and all of those things. So now that all of that is done, and I'm like establishing my life as a person versus just like trying to get to this career, there's things that it's one of those areas I want to improve on. So it's like building community. So I put there like specifically like making more friends and like all of that stuff. That was like on my list of things I want to be intentional about doing as I go through life. And so if you think about that, like 2020 is probably not the year to really accomplish that, because where can you meet people? And before the lockdown, I tried to like do some things at church, try to make some connections, and it kind of just all fell through, all of these things I was trying to do. But there were all these online things, which actually ended up being better for me, because it's easier for me to actually connect from the comfort of my home, because a lot of the anxiety that I have like in social settings is removed, because I'm not like I'm on my own couch. So even if I'm nervous, I still have the comfort of like being in my own home. So I was, and I was at first I was sad because I was reflecting on this, and I was like, I feel like I haven't made any progress. I tried to do this and that and all that stuff. And then it's like God checked me and was like, well, but you did. It just didn't look like what you thought it would look like. Yeah. Like I had in my mind it's like all this physical gatherings, going there, trying to meet up with people. And it's like, well, but you have been meeting up with people, just not physically. So so for me it was like, when you pray, like you got to, we want to be specific, but we also want to allow God to answer in a way that we may not envision. And so for me, it was like, okay, he did actually answer that prayer. He did actually guide me. It just didn't, just because it didn't look like what I thought it looked like, I almost missed the blessing. Like he literally blessed me so much with a lot of connections this year that would not have happened if there was no pandemic. Because if there wasn't, then Zoom and all this stuff wouldn't be happening, right? So it was like a big check on my spirit. And then I think the other lesson I learned, for me, I'm a person of routine, which has been a big blessing actually, because I've learned for me personally that routine can ground you when things are just kind of like all over the place. So even if I don't know what I'm gonna do like throughout the day, or I'm gonna make it through the day, like the things I do in the morning, the things I do in the evening are pretty much the same from day to day, which some could consider boring, but for me that grounds me. So when I wake up in the morning, I pray, devotion, yoga, exercise, like it's like it's the same thing in the evening, relax, read, shower. So kind of having those things when things were kind of like going crazy, this was happening, things are shutting down, we're doing telephone appointments, we don't know what this, we're teaching from home, all that stuff. It's like, I'm still going to do the same thing for like the first couple hours of the day. I'm going to do the same thing for the last couple hours of the evening. So whatever happens in between, the first 2 hours are the same, last 2 hours are the same. So it kind of just helps to like ground me and be like, okay, if nothing else, I have this to look forward to and I have that to look forward to. And whatever craziness happens in between, I have my grounding moments in the day. So that was really, I think that was a blessing for me in the sense that I'm very much a routine person anyway. So it was just easy for me to just kind of like be firm in those routines as like things were just like going crazy. I mean, not that the craziness didn't affect me, but it was like, okay, whatever. I'm still going to take my shower at the end of the day to relax, whatever the case is. So a lot of people were like trying to be like, how can I have a routine, working from home, all this stuff. And for me, it it was such a blessing that I already have that as part of like who I am as a person, because it just kind of helped me to like ease into a little bit more and take away a little bit of the anxiety that came with like all the changes and stuff. But yeah.
But you bring up a very good point that I have also experienced. And it is this idea that when we pray or when we put a vision or a wish out there, you know, often we have it in our head how we should go. One of the things that I put down in the beginning of the year is this idea of settlement. After my mom passed in 2013, you know how family things are, like where people are fighting over things, and you know, so some of it extended, you know, to now my mom is gone, so, and I'm the oldest, so you know, I had to deal with some of those things, and I was like, God, you need to come through. I just can't deal with this anymore. And I had it in my head because of the way I think. I was like, I had it all mapped out in my head how exactly it's going to happen in terms of the response. But the way one day somebody who knew my mom, I didn't even know this person. And then on Facebook, the person writes to me on Facebook. There's an uncle who lives in England, and he's like, which of the Yelbert's daughters are you? And I was like, what kind of question is that? Because I have 6 aunties. My mom had 6 sisters and a brother, and you know, all of that. So I was like, yeah, my mom is Lily, da 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 da. And then he's like, can I call you? For 2 hours, this man downloaded, because he knew my mom and he knew my grandparents and everything.
Oh, wow.
You know, my family, they were fighting over my grandparents' will. You know, it was just, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it's crazy, it's a mess. And this man started giving me information about, because he lived with my grandparents, so he knew all my aunties and he knew exactly what my mom did. So what he did was give me information that affirmed some things I knew, and that gave me new information I did not know. So now when I'm in spaces and somebody says nonsense, I can speak truth to power in an informed way. And I was sitting there and God said, I just gave you settlement. I was like, ooh. And I had to take a moment to be like, oh my God, because I was looking somewhere else. I had a whole thing in my head. So thank you for actually saying that, because for me, I think that one of the things I've learned this year is sometimes we can be so focused on what we think we want that the things that are coming to us, we don't even see it. And there are so many blessings we miss. And even now in the midst of COVID, that's why I gave when I spoke earlier, I said what I said, because even in the midst of COVID, sometimes we can be focused on what is not working. We don't see what is working. You know, and for me, that has been a big thing. The other big thing that has become important for me is the power of speaking a word. There are things that I had in my head and I never spoke. And once I put it out there, I started seeing people coming. I don't know where they were. I don't know where they were hiding. But the moment I put it out there, it started drawing people to what I had said, and those things started coming to life. And I chaired the board of We Care Solar, and you know, a few years back, we made a bold declaration that we wanted to raise $29 million, you know, to light every bed for women. And what happened is that once we put it out there, we started raising, and in a month we had like our 10th anniversary. That's how I met Tumi, actually. You know, we started having these programs, and all of a sudden, people started showing up. In about a matter of a month, we raised a few $1 million just for this project. And I was just like, oh my God, the power of speaking a word, declare a thing and it shall come to pass. So I'm really hanging on to that. And as a woman of faith, I look at Habakkuk 2:2. If you have an opportunity, go read Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision down, make it plain, make it clear so that the scribes can take it and run with it. So if there's anything you have on your heart, it's a dream, you think even that dream is crazy, please speak it out. Speak it out. And the people who need to find those words, they will find it. And the last thing that for me has become a big lesson is focus on the essentials. Focus on the essentials. I think we overcomplicate our lives. There are so many, like I used to be so busy on Saturdays. I'm going here, I'm singing here, I'm doing that. I come back, I'm pulling my children with me, and my children are tired and I'm not even seeing it. But it's like, my life is very simple right now. It's like, yeah, I wake up, I eat, I sleep, I go work out, I have calls. Okay. I've been binging on this Nigerian thing called like the Skinny Girl in Transit. Oh my God. It's so good. I've been binging. My husband was looking at me like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, I've just been binging since yesterday. I slept at 1. I got up this morning, I took a shower and I started watching it again, okay? Anyways, but that is, for me, it's about simplify. And I think about the story of Noah, when God said to Noah, there's going to be a flood, go into the ark. And it was one thing that I had never really noticed. He said, take the animals, take 2 by 2 by 2. Don't take all of them. Just take 2. And for me, that was focus on the essentials. We need to declutter our lives. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it's about where are you complicating your life and where do you need to focus on the essential? Because all that, I haven't even worn my shoes.
Oh yeah, I was about to say shoes, clothing.
Anyway, so that's just me. That's just me. Thank you, Benny.
Thank you. No, thank you. And one thing, I'm just going to go back. One thing that I think I learned about 2 years ago, this woman was leading sort of a start the new year sort of process. And what she said, which is, I still sticks with me every year, for those who don't like to do resolutions, she said, don't do resolutions and say, I want this, but do an intention. Write what your intentions are and think more about how would it feel if that intention were to materialize. Don't worry about what it would look like, but look at how would it feel. And she said, in that, then you start to almost embody that thing already. And I was like, I never thought about that. Because, you write I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose, and then you go to the gym the beginning of the year and then it's done, right? But she said, think about your intentions. I want to be healthy, right? And that's a different way of doing it than saying, I want to do this and this and this. I want to go open it up more. And she said, think about the feeling. And that's stuck with me for the last 2 years. So I don't do New Year's resolutions. I do intention setting. And this year has taught us whatever your intentions may be, may not happen right now. It may come in 2 years, in 3 years, right? So thank you. Anybody else on thoughts? No? Okay. Well, thank you. I'm taking notes here, so I'll send a lot of all your words of wisdom back to you after the call. But thank you very much for that. So what is everybody looking? I mean, Sure.
Like I know there are few folks, Folake, Tumi, who are on the call for the first time, and we've had several AfriWomen Hangout events. They've just recently joined the network. Maybe a few of us can just share quickly what having this space has meant for us, just in terms of professionally also. What it has meant, how that has contributed to your own growth, having this community. And then perhaps for Tumi and Folake, just like, some of the things that you're hoping, like being in this space, what are some hopes and things that you want to have some intentions? Usually when we connect, we would always see that there are natural connections where people have a need and then someone, oh yeah, I can connect you to this. So there's that organic connections that happen. And so especially for Tumi and Folake, some things where we could hold you up, we could support you where you are, and what this network can do to support you and hold you up, because that's what the network is all about, how we hold each other up. So if you people can share, what how the space has held you up, and then we can hear from Tumi and Folake, and then so.
Okay. Tumi or Folake, who wants to go first? maybe to me. I think Falake may still be finishing up.
Yeah, well, I guess for me, I am looking for a rich auntie that can buy me a new house. Put it out there.
Put it out there.
Put it out there. But on a more serious note, I've been like a stay-at-home mom for the past 9 years, and I guess this period of just taking stock and just putting the brakes on me being a mommy, so to speak, which it was really busy for me with my 3 kids, and I didn't really have time to focus on myself. And this period really caused me to slow down since every activity was canceled, and really forced me to slow down and think about what I want to do, like, you know, because I know I still have a lot to offer. I still know that I still want to work with vulnerable populations. I still want to help people in Africa, more especially women and children. I still want to be in that development field. So I was trying to see how I could plug myself back into the field, if it's going back to grad school, which I'm trying to look into, or just plugging myself with different people to connect and, you know, show me the ropes and how to get back into the development field. And I was lucky enough, I guess fortunate. And I mean, when I said, okay, I'm ready to come out and start doing things, I randomly get an email, and on that, I joined the webinar, and on that webinar was my man. I'm like, all right, God is already starting to work things out in his own funny way. So I'm very fortunate, and I'm glad I'm part of this group, and I hope to learn from a lot of you, and I hope I can get plugged into different areas that I can be of help in.
Thank you. More synchronicities happening. It's awesome. Yeah. Falake, is she there? I know she had a...
Yeah, she's and then maybe for Tumi,
yeah, we were actually on the same webinar this morning. I think the webinar is still on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's had to do with COVID vaccines in Africa. And,
I think it's okay.
Yeah,
right.
Listening to that because she has a webinar that she's putting together for January. So this really helped. So I think she's listening, but she's also trying to
multitask. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I was going to say, perhaps even, you know, for Tumi, maybe you might want to share a little bit about BLX.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was another synchronicity, right? So Mame, myself, and Moyatu, Auntie Abby, and a few others have been working with a group of other 2 women, African-American women, on this concept of what we're calling the Blue Lake Experience. And it's supposed to be sort of a sort of accelerator, developer of Black women globally, right? And it's sort of this idea we have of bringing women together, learning from each other, and really growing together in a very sort of nurturing way, where you really come out, having your true voice, having your authentic voice, speaking, as Mommy says, speaking your truth to power, right? And being very, very clear on what your own story is, so that you can kind of thrive in whatever career or whatever path you choose. I'll backtrack a bit. What's funny, as we've been going through this process, every night when I went to bed after the meeting, I'm like, I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. Oddly enough, I had to literally go through boxes of writings that I've done, and I remember I found it now and I sent it to the team. In 2014, I literally wrote down this same concept. In 2014, and it's literally been in a box. And so every night, every time we finished the meeting, I was like, there's something that's bugging me, and I can't figure out. I feel like I've seen this somewhere, and I had to go and find these old papers that I wrote. I couldn't even find it on the computer, and it's actually typed up. I couldn't even find it there. But it's talking about synchronicities, to me, that's exactly sort of things come full circle. But we're hoping that this becomes a place for support of Black women, and also to really make this a global community as well, and continue to expand, and also making sure that women who are part of the AfriWomen network can also use that as a support system as well. So we're trying to find partners and ways to expand the work that we're doing here with everyone as well. And definitely
I was going to say, Tumi will definitely connect you to, I have your information, so I will make an introduction so that God willing, maybe next week we can, make some connections to that with the staff that you are looking for. So please expect an email from me.
Yes, that'd
Thank
be great.
you.
Yeah.
I will disturb you if you don't. So.
Please do. Feel like I see you're back.
Yes, I am.
No,
I'm so sorry.
Multitasking, we understand.
Hello, everyone.
So we're just talking about sort of where you are and what you're doing now. So again, as Mommy shared, this has been a community where one person has an idea and we realize somebody else has similar and trying to connect. So I think everyone wanted to learn more about you so that we can at least have you in our back of our minds as we circulate. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my name is Falake Phillips. I am Nigerian. I moved here in 2017 of July, so I'm quite fresh off the boat. Since I've moved here, the same year I moved here, I got pregnant, and it was about family and moving homes and sort of settling in until May 27, when I became more in tune with the different civil issues going on in the US and social justice and what have you. Long story short, this has led me to start a nonprofit organization, which I started in June. And so in terms of what I do, firstly, I am a wife and a mom. Secondly, I put my very much for-profit business on hold for now, because there are much more important things to do for people, and I believe that I can always go back to my profit, my plans and aspirations for my for-profit business, which will also be a part of the non-profit business at some point. We are almost rounding up our rebranding process for the nonprofit organization. New name is called Awo. Awo translates, it's a Yoruba language from Nigeria, and it translates to skin. It can also mean color, it can mean plate, it can mean leather. Yoruba is a very tonal language, so it depends on where the accents and tones are placed. Our vision is to achieve I'll paraphrase, is to achieve a more inclusive and representative world by dismantling, isolating false narratives, and instead share narratives of the unheard. So we're very much going to be bringing together the two worlds, the world of the incomplete and often false narratives, and the people from those worlds, and the world of the unheard, underserved, low income, and what have you. We believe that a more complete story of humanity will translate into more inclusion and opportunity for every one of us. That's our vision, and we're going to be rolling out a lot of things on our social media pages as we go on. We have our upcoming, our next event after two. We've had 2 events since we started in June. We had a test pilot in June, and we had our inaugural event in September that covered the cultural racism and inequality. Really was the first of, sort of addressing these inaccurate narratives in society. We call that event Hope 2020, because personally I was very worried that, largely because of disinformation and right-wing, what I'll now call terrorists. They call them militias, but they're fast becoming terrorists, domestic terrorists. I really did think that there was a potential for a civil war to break out in America. before the elections. And as I'm a Christian first, I prayed with friends, with pastors and other groups about that. So that event was called Hope 2020. Then the next one we had was in October, that was called Women in Action. It was a virtual forum that was largely focused on civic responsibilities and tapping into the the power of women in the context of voter education and voting rights. Mami was very, 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 very instrumental in getting us two of our panelists. The event was a huge success amongst the attendees. We had one panelist that was male, Asian American, and the former mayor of our town where I reside, Los Gatos, was part of this event. So just to quickly round up, our upcoming event is going to take place on MLK Day next year, January 18. And it's going to be honoring that day, honoring the person of Martin Luther King Jr. And that event is going to be focusing discussions around safety, efficacy, fairness, and equity of COVID-19 vaccine, pediatric trials and programs, which is something we really all need to start thinking about. Anyway, we hope to launch a campaign on that day for a children's campaign on that day, primarily, for much younger children, 0 to 10 years old. I personally, this is my personal belief, I believe that in as much as we are not anti-vaxxers and we're very appreciative of the contributions of innovation and technology to medicine and vaccine development and what have you, I believe that the process has been politicized and somewhat rushed. Yep. The current adult trials have not been published publicly. Yep. And they're already talking about the trials for children as young as 12, which Pfizer started, and Moderna and AstraZeneca are going to start theirs very soon. So I guess for me, we just really wanted to start sort of making some noise about much younger children and getting people to be conscious of it and seeing how the process can be slowed down when it comes to them, and especially since these adult trials are ongoing and they haven't been published publicly, and we just don't know the long-term range effects. Children, they say popularly, are not just young adults. Their immune systems function in a completely different way. So that's our next event. And in terms of working together, I'll hope that I can find partners and sisters who can rise up with me, who believe that this process, when it comes to much younger children, does need to be slowed down. I'm hoping that, from this group, the Sisterhood, I can get people to work with me and volunteer with me and start, putting the word out there for these purposes. Just before I finish, I want to add that we will have at least no more than 3 child panelists as part of our event on that day, because we want to hear from them. We want to hear, about the unequal toll it's taking on the ones from, sort of minority families, because it's not something that happened, it's something that's still happening in their lives for many different reasons during this pandemic. So I'm sorry if I spoke too much, but
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you for
Well,
that.
okay, you actually we have Benny is the doctor. I see a clear.
I know.
I don't know if
you,
it's Doc.
I don't
Doc, is
sorry?
that you? No, I'm saying that we have
Ekwa.
3 doctors represented here.
Oh, great.
So
Great.
Benny is a doctor. I see a clear. I'm imagining.
Hi, yes, Dr. Kra. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
Moments
So
I'm
Doc is
driving.
here. And Nana's sister
My
is
sister,
also
so we'll
a
make
doctor.
sure, and I'll check. We also had a panel with healthcare providers that Ikra and another doctor also led. So what was in my mind as you were talking is whatever you need, just send us an email, and we will figure out how to get it out to the healthcare group.
Yay.
Just so that if anybody's doing that kind of work, I know that months ago the infectious disease person in my sister's hospital said he's not taking it. And that was probably about 6 months ago. So I don't know what his perspective is. I'll make sure she asks when she goes back to that. But it's been rushed. It's been rushed.
Yeah.
For adults,
and
it's been rushed.
And I think this might be in the series for the COVID stuff we've done with AfriWomen.
Yeah.
But, this might be something to think about, because I know that I'm sure on each of our platforms, on our WhatsApp platforms, we've all seen things going around within the African sector about don't take the vaccine, all kinds of things that are happening, so it might be something to really talk about if we think about the community and the diaspora, even the African diaspora, and what the vaccine actually means. There might be some conversation that I don't know.
Yeah. So sorry, that's why I was really, really late. Even to me was a part of this, and I couldn't get away fast enough because I'm trying to get as much education as possible. Okay. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the health sector at all. So I was trying to just hear a lot, and this was particularly keyed in for Nigerians in the diaspora and Nigerians at home. So that was what that was about. So I'm sure it's happening in other different African countries as well. So yes, thank you. I'll what email?
I can send you. I think I'm sure Mommy knows how to find you, so we'll find you. We'll send you a quick note so you know which email, and then just let us know what you need. If you need people, we'll just send it out to that.
Yeah.
And see how they can support. But yeah, I think that this will probably need to be a discussion as we get into next year.
Olaka, you are on the AfriWomen Network WhatsApp group, so you can put your email there.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know the rules, and I didn't. Okay.
Yeah,
you can send your email there, and I'll pick it up for you. Okay.
Okay. All right, Mommy, get ready for some more sleepless nights.
No, but thank you with that. Ikra, welcome. Thank you with that though. But I think that that's where. We may be going into a new year, but COVID isn't done with us yet. So we have to be, we have to be conscious of what's happening, right? And I don't know that there's a lot of information out there, especially about the trials. They have not been peer reviewed and published. So we need to be careful. We need to just be aware, right? Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I know yes, sure.
I'm sorry. Can I just make one point? I don't want to confuse anyone. I'm so sorry. No. I want to emphasize that I'm very much in support of whatever word out there that is rooted in sort of sound ethical practices. I'm very much about that. We're not anti-vaxxers, but we're human beings and we have families and we love them, and regardless of the historical sort of exploitation and experimentation with sort of African American, indigenous, Hispanic communities, we need to try our best to help some of those issues that exist, but we also still need to be wise about how we're helping. So I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ikwa, are you there? Hello?
Hi, yeah, I'm driving. That's why I kept putting myself on mute. That's okay. I don't want to you guys hear the background.
If you think you can share out, we're just going through how is everyone doing this as we close out 2020 and some lessons from the year into next year. But I know you're driving, so you let us know if you can do that while you're
Oh yeah, I can. I just didn't want you guys to hear the noise. That's it.
No worries.
But thank you for the opportunity to speak. Hello everybody. I've been doing okay. As many of you know, I'm an internist and I work in the hospitals, and I've been fighting COVID amongst other things throughout the year, and it's been a bit of a challenging year. It's a year that we all learned how to have this new life with this disease that unfortunately has not gone away, and most likely will not be going away, in my opinion, ever, or for quite some time. I do think that it's been a learning curve for everybody about how to make a shift in life, including myself. I hope that taking the time out for yourself was something that a lot of people took and did. I do recognize that, a lot of us we're in our daily shuffle. You wake up in the morning, maybe you do your, meditate, do your quiet time, you eat breakfast, take the kids to school, you go to work, you work from 9 to 5, you come home, maybe you take little Johnny to soccer, then you help with homework, you make dinner, you watch maybe a episode of Netflix, you fall asleep in front of the TV, you go to bed, you wake up, you go back to where everybody was in this weird, get up and go. And I do think, if anything, COVID taught us how to slow down. And how to appreciate the things around us and the life that we have around us. I'll put myself on a video. And I hope that a lot of people take that experience into 2021, into the rest of the year. I've definitely learned to appreciate my life, appreciate the life of my friends and family around me, and appreciate being in the moment. Rather than always having to plan and always preparing. Oh, I'll do that a year from now. I'll do that. No, do it now, because there may not be a year from now. So I think that was kind of my biggest takeaway. And I'm optimistic for the new year. I'm optimistic that things are going to get better, even though we're carrying over COVID into 2021. I'm still trying to be optimistic that things are going to improve, and that it'll be a new way of life, just like 9/11 created a new way of life, but we will get back to some sort of normalcy. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Doc. I do believe that, I think what everyone has shared before you got on was also this idea of having to slow down and having to take stock of where we are and who we are. And I think that's been a good thing, I think, for humanity in general. I feel like this year, I keep saying this, God has said, you've been bad, go to your room and come back when you're better, right? Right? If you remember when we all locked down, the environment got better. You could actually see the skies over LA. Like, come on. Right?
Right. The animals started coming out. Didn't they say the animals were coming out and all that?
Yeah. So I think it's a wake-up call for humanity. We need to wake up, right? Not just our environment, our relationships with each other, how to slow down, how to take care of yourself. We've had no choice. But I do think the world is shifting, whatever, for good or bad. I think the world is shifting, and my belief is that hopefully it's taking us to a better place. I'm praying for that. That it is taking us to a better place, because I think that for me, 2020 has also been the year where I call it, if you didn't know, now you know, right? If you didn't know a lot about the US election process, now you know. If you didn't know the loopholes, now you know, right? If you didn't know how certain populations felt about certain people, now it's very open, right? Everybody knows, there's no hiding. Which I think is a good thing, right? It goes back to what Folake was saying, like, you share stories, right? You get more included, your voice is heard more. Exactly. I think that's what we've seen this year, is that we now know how people think.
Yeah, you know your neighbors too.
You know your neighbors?
Your neighbors, yeah.
Yeah. So Nana, I think we are about to wrap up.
Yes.
Right. So that we can all get on a Saturday, and but I think the one thing I want us to do, just to wrap up, will be to think of a virtual gift that we can give to each other. So the virtual gift, the idea I'm having is, what is one fun thing that you can share as a virtual gift that you want to share as a reminder for each one of us to focus on that one thing, to have fun and just enjoy, because we've been through quite a year, And we all need, in fact, can you give yourself a little hug? Let me just give yourself a little hug.
Embrace the
You know, just
mosquito.
love on yourself a little bit. Like we have been through, squeeze yourself a bit, squeeze. Just like, ooh, like Mide will hug, what's her name? Tiwa Arek.
Now I've got to go watch it. I got to go watch this thing now.
Watch it.
Gwenny keeps nodding her head. I better go watch it.
Like, you know, just hold your neck a little bit, touch your face, you know, love on yourself a little bit, because we've all been through quite the ringer, right? So.
And actually, before we even go there, I just want to even say from an AWDF USA perspective, right? That's having these virtual AfriWomen, just check-ins and just gatherings has really been special for us, right? We usually did it in person during, you know, CSW, and people come together in New York, and I feel like we've reached more women this way. And I'm also very grateful to, I know Moiti had to leave, but I'm grateful to our fellows who are here as well. Valerie, Mary, right? One, Aurora. Yeah. I think without you guys as well, we wouldn't have been where we are this year. So I just want to say thank you before the end of the year, and thank you for that. So
yeah.
And next year,
I will start with my one.
Yes.
That my one gift is laughter. So let's just laugh a little bit. Make sure you just laugh. You make sure you just make sure you find time to laugh out loud. Yeah. And remember to laugh at yourself and laugh with others. That's the key. Yeah. Laugh at yourself and laugh with others. So that's my gift. That's my virtual gift. So please accept my virtual gift. Take it. Receive it, receive it, receive it, receive it. So
we'll take it.
Demi, how about you?
So one thing I've gotten into recently in the last few weeks is coloring. I don't know if anybody's ever done like coloring, but there's coloring apps. And I'm the kind of person that, like, you know, I can get stressed about little things. So thinking about like what color to use on what part of the picture could be stressful. But there's coloring apps that go by numbers. So you don't have to think about it. And it's been really relaxing. So if you haven't tried that, it can be a very good way to just kind of like, essentially just like shut down a little bit and be a little bit more present in the moment and just relax. It's been really relaxing. So coloring apps, that's my go-to.
I'll send actually what I'll do is I'll send everyone here after the, maybe I'll post it, but there's some interesting augmented reality coloring things that actually make your things come to life. I'll send that to you. It's for kids, but I've been doing it. My nieces are like, what's that? I'm like, Auntie, you'll do it.
Valerie.
So, Valerie.
I'd say beauty. I think both within ourselves and around us. I think a lot of the times, you know, before COVID, I'm all about the before COVID life. You know, we look for this extreme one of a lifetime days, or it's birthdays or whatever, to experience beauty, to feel beautiful. And I think especially because now we're always at home, so you're always wearing loungewear, etc. But really see beauty in the small things, whether it's interactions around us. You know, it's winter, so I don't know how we're seeing that right now. But yeah, like just seeking beauty in the day to day.
So One and I have been sharing pictures of flowers. I'm waiting for your picture. I got some. Yes, I got some this week. But I think you may have shown.
Where's mine? I don't have
flowers for the house, just because, right? Just because it looks cute. Valerie, I'll be sharing mine too with you now. Look at that, beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Mary?
Mary, yes, Mary.
Yes, hi. To say you will do any thing, it will give you some entertainment and okay. That's what I shared today.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you very well. I don't know if anybody heard. Can you repeat that?
No.
Can you hear? I'm saying my gift today is sing, to remember to sing.
To sing. Oh, yes.
Sing.
Yes. Yes. Which means that I'm expecting everyone here to be watching Mame live so we can all chat with her and like highly recommended. That's for sure. All right, Folake. Any ideas for virtual? Yes.
Yeah, for me, I guess one thing has always been central to me as a person and that is to just always sort of find joy and peace and chase it as much as possible, because before COVID, life always would try to throw different things away, and COVID has come, COVID is gonna go. So if whatever it is that we always knew to work for us, in my case, I've always been very big on family, on friendships, meaningful friendships, family, being around family and having a good time. I've always been very much about that. So I just focus on the joy and the peace that, just sort of keeps me in a certain frame of mind, regardless of what life throws.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Peace.
I think for me, what has worked has been, I think, radicalizing the idea of self-love. For me, like the way we see it in media is like, oh, going on a big trip, doing this, or like buying this expensive thing. But I think for me with lockdown, it's in the small things like cooking, just healthy food. Like that's the only part of my day that I look forward to, like putting the tomatoes together, looking up what colors I can mix, eating good food. I think that's one thing for me that I just didn't realize it can be an idea of self-love, or like buying flowers and just having nice things around you. Like it has done like so much for my mental health. It's been a year since I haven't went home, but I think the small things of taking care of myself, of like, resting and just being kind and gentle has been just done the most. And just remembering that the things you obsess over now, 2 years later, like, why was I even like trying to kill myself over nothing, or like obsessing, or like reading so much into it that, the things that you obsess over don't necessarily have to take up so much space. And you never know, like, ask for help. People are always willing to support anyhow you can, and then they'll show up where you never expected. But that idea of like speaking it out and asking for help and just being gentle with yourself, I think for me has helped me keep it together. And just know that people care. I think people don't realize that. You think you're alone in your issues until you share with someone, then you realize, oh, someone has went through something, or even if they haven't, they know someone who has, and and they would have advice, or just be willing to listen, or just hold space for you to just say it out. And once you do that, I think it's more of a less of a burden, and it's not in your head alone. So I think that just works, knowing that you're just never alone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dog.
All right, you can hear me. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing about cooking. Cooking has definitely been something that I have focused on, and I think that it's a great way, like she said, of self-care and using your imagination and using creative juices that you maybe didn't know that you had. So definitely looking up recipes and things like that. And also, if you're someone who likes to drink alcohol, figuring out new cocktails. That's something that I've been doing.
So says the dog, right?
New cocktails and new drinks, and this actually pairs well with this. It's been a lot of fun. So if you're into drinking, consider that becoming your own bartender. Safely though, of course.
Thank you.
Thank God. To me.
Well, a couple of things. So the first one is, I guess I'm even telling myself this too, like every day when you wake up, just say something out there that you're thankful for, you're grateful. Especially if you have spouses, or, say something nice, I know this COVID time has probably put a strain on a lot of relationships, and just being with someone 24/7, it's not easy, especially if you're a loner like me. I like my space. So just say something nice and say something that you're thankful for. And other thing is, do something for someone. If it's a firefighter station, order pizza sent to them, or the homeless. I mean, California has a huge homeless situation. You know, make a few packages and give to the homeless around you, obviously safely, as best as you can. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. To me, also, homeless college students. That was shocking for me.
Yeah, that's happening this year. Yeah, and other years, yes. All right, thank you.
We
Thank
have
you.
Aurora.
Aurora, and then I'll add in Aurora.
Yes, for me, I'll just say, just try and be in the moment. It's for this period. Sometimes you're just worried about, okay, what next? What is it going to be like next year? How long is this going to be? Okay, I'll just say, take it all in, just relax, just try and enjoy the moment. Just try and give out, as much love and kindness as you can, because you don't know what someone is going through. Sorry, that's my little girl.
No worries.
So, yeah, that's really just it for me. Just try and give as much love and kindness as you can, and yeah.
Thank you. I would say, just in closing for me, I know this year has been too interesting for words, I would say. But one thing that oddly enough has kept me going as well has been looking up to the stars and the planets, and and something like, oddly enough, again, I keep saying this, but my dad had a telescope in the house in the 70s in Ghana, and we'll look up at the stars and the Big Dipper, and I've actually gone back to that, and there's been some very amazing happenings. I mean, yesterday in the morning, I woke up at 4:30 to do some work, and I looked out the window, and I saw this crescent moon looking shape with like this glow around it, because it was a little foggy, and I was like, oh, I would have never seen this if I didn't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And there's some just beauty out there, and it's just, I mean, just even the tree, like, just for me, it's just looking at nature, and just remembering that we're part of a larger universe. We're tiny. We're tiny. And it's been an interesting year astronomically as well. So that, if you like that, that's also an interesting thing to look at. But just from the moons, and you can see Jupiter and Saturn up in the sky, Mars some evenings. I mean, it's been fascinating. Just to come back to that after ignoring that. Again, you're rushing, you never look up, right? So that's been really great. Yes, thank you for that. Notice you, notice others, and notice nature. Thanks, Mommy. All right. Well, all right. Thank you, everybody.
To go, Nana, I don't know, how do I put the flyer on here, just in case people haven't seen it? If you're on Facebook, you may, and we are friends, you may have seen it. But I'm not sure. Maybe I'll let somebody put it up on the thing for me. AfriWomen Network, just so you have it.
Wait, do you want us? We can send it out to the WhatsApp group. I don't know if that's.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay,
please.
I'll send it out.
Yes.
We can send that out.
And then you can subscribe to my YouTube. That's so you can see it on there. So it's just, I'll put it here so you can have it. It's youtube.com/Mamiafan. Yes.
Sure, we can do that.
Thank you.
I hope to see.
Subscribe and help a sister out.
Yeah, we'll help.
Go ahead.
Yes. The other pieces for next year as well, we're thinking of how to sort of beef up and formalize this network. So we'll probably send out the survey that Melanie created again before the end of the year, but your feedback is really, really needed and appreciated, because we want to hear from you so that we can set up the right structures going into next year. The hope is to launch that by March next year as well, and have a larger event as well in March. So looking forward to next year. But thank you so much. I think that the AfriWomen Network and just our gatherings and working with our fellows has just been a highlight of a really difficult year for everybody. So I really want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay.
Thank you. And I just saw this, and I want to close out with this funny. It's like, I don't know if it's a joke or something, but they said the person who raises fish, like if you rear fish, it's what fisheries, right? If you rear a pig, it's what? Piggery, right? So if you rear hen, what is it?
Henry. No.
Just like what?
I just wanted you to laugh out.
She wanted us to leave us with some laughter. I can see that.
And please go and watch. What's the thing? Benny, what is it?
Guinea girl
in transit. Oh my God. What's his name?
Game.
He's so cute. Oh my God. He's so cute. He's my new crush. My other crush has always been Idris Elba, you know. But I saw me there. I was like, oh, me too. He's so cute. So go watch it. It's on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Six seasons, okay?
Yeah,
it is so good.
You want trouble in this house. I know what we'll be doing in the next few minutes in this house now. My sister's I've been looking for other things to watch. So.
Oh, go watch it. Yeah. Go watch it. It's so good. Folake, it's a skinny girl in transit. That's the thing we are saying she go with. And Bemi and I, we are like already on it. Bemi has watched it like 50 times already, so.
It's on YouTube, Ndani TV.
Yes, Ndani TV. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and have a wonderful end to your 2020, and a wonderful start to the next.
Honor is already on it. She's putting it in the link for us.
Okay.
Love you all.
Thank you.
God richly bless you. May you really be blessed in everything you do. May you be protected. May the grace of God and His love cover you and your families. May peace be in your abode. May kindness and love. And may your mind be blown with unexpected blessings. In Jesus' name.
And money. Don't forget to mention money.
The intention has been set.
And the rich aunties who are going to buy the houses for Tumi needs the rich aunties to buy a house. So please, start saying it though. Me, I want the house too. I want the Lamborghini. I beg. Bye, love you
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.